Hello, welcome to the Wasting Time podcast. I've no idea which episode it is, but it's the first one of the year.
I knew, I had a feeling you were going to try and name the number and then have no idea what it is. We're like 74, something like that. But you're right, it is the first one of the year. We've been away for a little while, so apologies to the listeners for that.
It's been a bit of a quiet period, hasn't it? Christmas, I wasn't very well for a few weeks.
Yeah, you were really poorly. I mean, that's kind of what stopped us because we had an episode lined up at the start of the year, and we were going to do that whole thing when we talked about some of our favourite records from last year, etc., with the guest included, giving theirs. But then you were just like so ill that it just wasn't happening. So with that guest, we're going to revisit them in a few weeks, and we just decided just to hold off until this one. But you're feeling better, right? Because that was lingering, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably about 4 or 5 weeks. But yeah, on the mend now. Nice Christmas bug for Christmas, basically.
Yeah.
Not COVID though. At least I still haven't got my COVID badge yet.
No, me neither. I don't want to tempt
everyone
fate.
else, I seem to know, has either had it or definitely getting it, or definitely had it recently. You know.
Yeah.
So I think maybe a matter of time, but I think we're in a better position now, aren't we, just to deal with it and move forward.
Yeah, hopefully.
Cool. Well, what have I missed then? Seeming as you're the one with the finger on the pulse, mostly.
Is that fair to say? Okay. Well, if you say so.
More so than me, anyway.
Yeah. Well, let's not dwell on news, etc., for too long, and we'll get to the interview pretty quickly. I suppose we could just. I sent you a couple of like songs I'd listened to recently that I thought maybe we could just share opinions on, and then maybe we could dive into it if that sounds good to you. Thoughts on that? Did you get a chance to listen to any of that stuff?
Yeah, I did. Some of it, maybe not at as much length as I'd like to.
All good.
But yeah, there's a couple of other things I've, I guess, listened to recently as well. It's worth chatting about.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to steer? Do you want to?
And we haven't had a podcast since the When We Were Young thing was announced as well. So I feel like we've got to we've got to at least talk about that because that's pretty mad.
That's right. We have to acknowledge that. Yeah, it's funny. It's weird that we haven't done it because I listen to a lot of other podcasts that are kind of similar to ours or whatever, and they've all discussed it and like. So I feel like we have discussed it, but no, we haven't. It's just through me listening to them or talking to you or other friends outside of the podcast. But yeah, do you want to steer us through this bit? Like, talk through the songs that I sent you that you had a chance to listen to, and then the additional ones that you've checked out.
I mean, I guess the release that's due out, I think in a couple of days, Frank Turner's new record. He's released another single from that record.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's due out on Friday.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. I mean, more or less out by the time we release this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's released a few songs from it. Most recent one being the one with the guy from Biffy Clyro.
Yeah.
What do you think of that one? Do you enjoy that one?
I like the chorus, but the spokeny kind of word stuff, just I find it irritating for some reason.
I agree. I actually preferred the other the single that came out a week or two before that. The one
it's that Wave Across the Bay.
Yeah, which was written about,
nice
and quite a heartfelt meaning because it was written about the Frightened Rabbit singer who killed himself a few years back, and obviously Frank had a friendship with him, and it's quite a raw, touching song. I mean, it's catchy, but like the lyrics are really quite moving. I thought. Yeah,
and obviously you got Miranda as well, which is kind of another, I guess, deep subject from
which
Frank
is lovely.
Turner's point of view. That's a great. I think that's a great song, and obviously it's a great story. His dad, who he's got a terrible relationship with, and going through a transgender transformation. Was that what you would say?
I suppose so.
But yeah, it's like pretty cool story to kind of here that it's kind of completely turned his relationship with his dad on its head, and like they've started again. Like it's well documented, isn't it, from some of his songs, how bad his relationship was with his dad. And
I mean, he even when we spoke to him, he alluded to that, and which at the time was still a very, very broken relationship.
Yeah. So it's a nice story. And then there's the other one that's Non Servium. Have you heard that? It's like it's almost like a Million Dead song. Like he's almost gone back. It's like a real kind of metal-y kind of.
Yeah. I haven't listened to it, but I did know he released one like that as well.
Yeah. No, but looking forward to hearing the full album on that one.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about the full album on the next episode, shall we? See what we think of that.
Yeah. What else was on the list?
This
Machine Gun Kelly, emo kid,
emo girl featuring Willow Smith. What are your thoughts on that one?
I just can't get away with it anymore. I just can't get away with him anymore.
Yeah, he's kind of. Oh man, he's kind of a ridiculous man, isn't he? And he's just kind of outstayed his welcome a little bit. Because, I mean, I don't know if we would have ever thought he was a cool individual. Perhaps you could go back and listen to our episodes, and we're perhaps saying that. I don't know.
We were definitely like feeling it at first.
Weren't
we?
Oh yeah, massively. Yeah, I'm pretty sure at the end of 2020 we both had a song of his in our top 5 of the year. So he was definitely someone that we paid a lot of attention to and listened to. Whereas now I'm at a point with him where when you have to separate artist from the music, just because he's such a ridiculous man, and that I don't know if you've seen that stuff that came out that he said about one of the Kardashians or Jenners or whatever, like that's very creepy. It's from an interview from 2013. It's just like, oh man, this guy. But separating all that, I mean, the songs, it's throwaway, and I've got a bit bored of it. But at first, I was enjoying it because it's very catchy. It's fun to have Willow Smith on it as well.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely struggling with that one. Struggling with him, full stop. And I guess for me, it's like it feels like, he was originally kind of making a beeline to move into the genre and like explore that, but I just don't feel like he's done anything to like integrate himself within it. Do you know what I mean? And like he's very much just out on his own doing his thing, and like I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think, and I do think you have a point. But at the same time, he is very much responsible for how popular the genre is now, sort of in the mainstream, I'd say, and we have to give him some sort of credit for that, I suppose, because he's really popular, and he's influenced a lot of copycats, and it's popular with the kids again. So
yeah,
that's a good thing, I think.
Fair enough. Let's move on.
All right, go on. Which one do you want to do next?
Just one of my own, really. I don't know if you've heard the new Hot Water Music track. They brought a new single. They're bringing out I think it's a new album, like a full length in March. They brought out a new song called "Collect Your Things."
I have not checked that out. How's that sound?
I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's a good song, solid song from those boys. You're not a massive fan of them.
I like the odd song here and there. They're not a regular go-to for me. I've seen them live a few times. Some of Chuck Reagan's solo stuff's cool as well. But yeah, not a massive fan. But I always pay attention to what they're doing. Cool. Evidently not this time, but I will check that out for sure.
Yeah, check it out. I think. Well, yeah, maybe we could see if we can get someone in.
Yeah,
from Hot Water Music.
That's a good thought. That's a good thought. We've never reached out to their people before, so yeah, that's good. Yeah, very good shout.
Yeah, March. I think the record's out. So.
Oh yeah, maybe we could try
and
tie it in with that.
What else did I listen to? Well, I tried listening to that Smart Death you sent me, but I can't.
You're really over all this kind of TikTok pop punk, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely.
This is like very much in the vein of Machine Gun Kelly and Lil Lotus and all that stuff. Like
all this overproduced, like synthy hip hop pop punk crossover stuff.
Do you think this kind of trend's going to die away soon, or do you think it's like
I don't know?
They've started a whole new thing, and that's going to be around for years.
I mean, when you look at where popular music is at the moment, which I don't do very often, but I got a slice of it when I watched some of the Brit Awards last night.
Oh yes, yeah.
And that is just where popular music is at the moment, and like it's just dross. Like, in all honesty, I mean, Sam Fender aside, who won best rock alternative act.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I think we're getting older. And that some of those genres and some of the the newer kind of pop punk, I don't know what you call it. Has it even got a name yet? I'm surprised it hasn't got a name. Like, it's appealing to younger audiences, and that's what I listen to.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just dabble in it a little bit. I'm definitely a bit old for it and stuff, but I do enjoy it, and I like if like I keep saying, if the kids are going to listen to that, then I prefer that over some of the other dross, as you say, that's in the mainstream. So I'm here for it if these kind of artists keep coming out.
Where's this guy come from anyway? Was it a band or was it a group?
I don't know. I think it's just a guy, but I just saw that Mark Hoppus is on one of those tracks on the album. So when that was released, that kind of came up on my title.
Even he's selling out now.
But like these guys have kind of been interlinked with that world for a while, because there's another one who I think's featured on the album. It's called Lil Aaron, and like he's written some stuff for Blink a few years ago and stuff. So it's kind of, and obviously Travis Barker is always working with these people. I thought the Hoppus feature was pretty cool, and even had a little alluded to his cancer as well, which I wasn't expecting.
I didn't get that far in, to be honest with you. So I'll have to specifically revisit that track.
Yeah, revisit that song, see what you think. But yeah, like I just quite enjoy it. It's nothing amazing, but yeah. Well,
fair.
What else we got?
I did actually get round to listening to the Mayday Parade record. Obviously, you had what was the guy's name?
Oh, Derek. Yeah,
Derek.
That was our last episode. Yeah.
Yeah, Derek on, and that was following on from their latest release. So I listened to that, and it's a very easy listen.
Yeah.
One for the kitchen when you're making tea, which is when I dabble. But yeah, there's one song that made me laugh. That it's got the lyric. It's got "Out in sunny land, we got caught so bad in the storm again" or something. And every time I listened to it, it sounded like "Out in Sunderland," just the way he sang it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought he might have been like, caught in a bad storm in Sunderland, which is obviously,
that would have been
not beyond the realms of possibility on
in
his touring life. But yeah, sunny land, not Sunderland.
Yeah,
there you go. And that was it. Oh, I did listen to the main Taking Back Sunday track. I listened to that a while ago, actually. I know you mentioned to me yesterday, but
yeah, it's a couple of weeks ago.
Loved You a Little. Yeah, it's all right. Well, it wouldn't go on any of my playlists, put it that way.
Sort of 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 at a push, maybe, or not even that high.
Not even that high. 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, let's go low, ish, middle of the road. That's it. That's what I've listened to.
Okay, yeah, that's enough to be going with for now. You want to talk a little bit about? Well, let's catch up with all our peers who've been talking about it. The We Were Young festival. When We Were Young festival.
When is it?
It's like October. It's around Halloween, I think, and that sort of time.
Are we going?
I mean, I'll never say never, but
it's not looking good.
No. And also, I kind of feel like So, I mean, full disclosure, we're waiting to see if we can get press passes for Slam Dunk. We're hoping we can do that. But like, if we can't get those, I didn't have any plans to go to Slam Dunk as a punter this year. But looking at the lineup of Slam Dunk and when we were a young festival, I think for me, Slam Dunk's way more exciting. I don't know why people are going so nuts about this festival. But I know there's a lot of big acts on there from this genre, but just out of bands I like personally, there's not that many.
Yeah, I suppose it is like a nostalgia festival, though, isn't it? Like, there's not much. It's definitely appealing to a certain audience from that millennial kind of.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm one of that. I am one of that audience, but there's just no artists from that time. Chris, like, none of my absolute favourites.
We know how much you love that My Chemical Romance record.
Oh, fuck off. But, like, there's no Blink, there's no MXPX, there's no Good Charlotte, there's no Newfound Glory, there's no Sum 41, there's no Simple Plan. Fair enough. There's like none of the big ones for me are there. There's lots of bands that I like, don't get me wrong, but not enough that makes me think, I'm going to go out to Vegas to watch this. Whereas I look at the Slam Dunk lineup and there's like way more bands that I really like on it.
We'll best get a Slam Dunk then, eh?
Yeah. And also, Nick, I think if we were going to do an extravagant trip like that, we'd be better off going to the emo cruise, which would be, I think, more of an experience and, it has just as many people we like on it, and instead of just going to a festival in Vegas.
Have you been to Vegas before or no?
I have, yeah, many years ago.
Keen to go back?
Not really.
On festival aside?
No, it's not a place that really I was particularly bowled over with myself.
You don't seem like the Vegas
type. Don't give a Vegas kind of vibe. No, I didn't love it.
Fair enough. Maybe we'll see what happens. Don't rule it out. It is sold out though, isn't it? So
yeah, and they do what they doing at time of recording. They're doing 3 days in a row of just the same day repeating, I think.
Oh really?
Yeah. Actually, while we're on that subject, have you picked 3 artists to watch? Who would you be watching?
Oh, Alkaline, probably. The starting line would have to be on there just because your opportunities there aren't opportunities. I think that's what you got to look at it, haven't you? Because it's a nostalgia festival. You got to look at who potentially do you go and see that you might never get the chance to see again. So yeah, I'd definitely have to put a starting line on there. And then I don't know, that third slot's a bit of a tough one. The Used, I think, would be. I like. They put on a good show back in the day. Boys Like Girls. Acceptance. God, that's an old band.
I never really listened to Acceptance.
I never saw them live, but I love that first record they brought out.
Oh, did you? Okay.
But yeah, I can leave My Chemical Romance and Paramore behind. Bring Me the Horizon as well. Maybe Jimmy Eat World. Throw them in the mix. Right. Well, they're definitely still doing the rounds. What about yourself?
Well, I'm thinking Alkaline Trio, Mayday Parade, both of whom are coming to the UK soon anyway. And then third one, there's no one who like jumps ahead of the others. Just lots of people who I'd be happy to see, like Jimmy Eat World, Dashboard, Sleeping with Sirens, Wonder Years.
What about?
But again, bands that come here all the time.
What about Slam Dunk then? If you like the three artists on the Slam Dunk lineup.
Okay. So we've got the Interrupters, Kenny Hoopla, Magnolia Park have just been announced. I do really, I really want to see them. Mod Sun, I'd like to see.
You're going to go 3.
Some 41. Yeah, that's what I get that, but like I'm just saying these are all contenders. So like for me to pick 3, I'm just trying to emphasize that this is a more exciting lineup for me. Maybe let's say Sum 41, Kenny Hoopla, and Magnolia Park.
Interesting. Yeah, Sum 41 would definitely be on there for me. I would say the Interrupters, but I have seen them like a few times before.
Right.
But they are great. As long as it isn't a clash with another one of my second or thirds. Hot Water Music, definitely like to see those guys. Knuckle Puck, never seen them before. You seen Knuckle Puck before?
No, I've never been that interested in them, but I've been liking some of their more recent stuff.
Yeah, I like the Flatliners as well. They're on there.
Oh yeah, Flatliners are very cool.
Yeah. So there you go.
Dropkick Murphys are even, they're fun.
Yeah, I suppose it'd be good. You know,
So,
fancy a bit of Dallas Green?
Dallas Green is the guy from what band was it?
Fire.
That was it. No, not really.
They'll be doing that tent, won't they? That kind of the hardcore type tent they have.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
No, not my cup of tea.
Well, let's see if we get passes for that or not, because that would be interesting if we do.
Yeah. Any other news to cover?
I don't think so. I think that's plenty to be going on with, and it might be time to get into today's interview.
I did see.
Go on.
Chad Gilbert cancer free last week.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's good news. News.
Him and Mark, I think, are both kind of in the clear.
Mark has been for a little while.
Did you see Chad Gilbert's scar from his surgery?
Yeah.
Seen the picture of that scar? Jesus. Yeah, looked like some serious surgery. Had.
Yeah, brutal.
Meatloaf's dead.
Yep, the way you said that, look on your face. Not that I mean to laugh at the death of Meatloaf, but just I wasn't expecting you to say, "Yep, Meatloaf sadly passed away."
Yeah, he was well known in the Northeast. He was, he was well liked in the Northeast. I don't know if he supported Newcastle or. Yeah.
Okay. He had some sort of affiliation, did he?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Okay, moving on from Meatloaf, let's get into the interview.
Let's do it, mate. Let's do it.
We were joined by William Ryan Key, who we're hoping to get back for a second round, just to cover some more of the Yellowcard story. But
yeah,
here it is.
Hey, I just realised I just referred to you as Ryan before. Do you go by? Is it William or Ryan?
No, Ryan's
still
good.
Ryan. Okay.
William is just my pretentious artist, solo artist name. It's actually my name, but my parents called me by my middle name my whole life. So,
okay,
just post Yellowcard, I just decided to kind of differentiate it a little bit. And it's so funny, man, because the amount of people that, I think to the majority of people that would recognize me somewhere, I'm just either just Yellowcard or the guy from Yellowcard. So right. You'd be amazed how many people at like solo shows and stuff that have probably seen Yellowcard play 100 times will come up to me and be like, William. And it's interesting because I've never been called William before, but we just weren't the kind of band that had like really like individual standout sort of personality. You know what I mean? We were sort of just a band, so it's funny.
Also, with all our technical stuff, I just realised we didn't introduce ourselves properly, so apologies for that. So,
all good.
My name's Chris. I'm based in East London, and that's Nick, who's up in the northeast, up in Newcastle.
All right.
Been to both places on several occasions, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I guess how these things go, these podcasts, what we generally do is a kind of bit of a walk through the ages, a bit of a nostalgic kind of look back. Obviously, your career is quite long, so we'll try and whistle through that. But I guess let's maybe just start kind of where things are at right now for you. You said you're in Florida at the moment, but you reside in Tennessee. Is that right?
I'm in Nashville at the moment. Outside that door, okay. My home is a war zone. We're packing up the house. My girlfriend and I just bought a place in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, where I grew up, to be closer to my parents. And she's not a big fan of the literal freezing ice rain that we're getting as we're recording right now. So living a mile and a half from the ocean is it's a big plus for her. So we found a great little house down there, and I haven't lived in Jacksonville, full time. I've done a couple few month stints where I was sort of in between places. I've moved so much since I left home as a kid, but I left home when I was 19, so that was 23 years ago last month. and so I haven't lived there in a long time, but I think at my age at this point, like a lot of the sort of past is behind me, and there was a lot of I hate to use this word, but drama around the band and the history of the band and just back home, and it always was kind of turned me off, to be honest, from being there. But older, wiser, less wounded by stuff that doesn't matter these days, so and just being close to my parents is something I think that I'd like to do. I'd like to be able to spend time with them, as now that we're older and they're much older, while I can, I want to be around them and spend time with them. So anyways, I'm in the middle of a huge mission of moving, and the studio still looks immaculate, which is
that Lone Tree recording studio right there? Is that your space there? And the plan is just pack it up and move it down there, right?
Yeah, this is where I work every day. It's pretty streamlined. I have a really, really nice, I'm really lucky to have the setup that I have. I've been very, I've been very, in a non-religious way, blessed by the support that I have from fans, after the band and broke up, and to help me keep my music career going. I did a Kickstarter campaign kind of reluctantly, because it sort of turned me off, the idea of doing like a crowdfunded, money. It's like, it's icky, it's gross, but anytime I've had to or chosen to do something like that, you realize how much people don't view it that way. They really view it as, a way they can support you and your music. And so I did a Kickstarter campaign to just get the gear that I needed to kind of get up and running as a, studio musician. And it was amazing. It was back in like 2015, just before I already knew the band was breaking up. The world did not. Right. So I was sort of preparing for the future. And it was overfunded by a ton, and I was able to get everything I needed and really build out the room. This is my third room that I've done. It's the third house I've had with my stuff, but I've been able to really move it and plug it in wherever I've gone and keep working. And, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I hadn't had that. That level of support sort of in the post Yellowcard world from fans that have stuck with me and given me the chance to keep making music. So I love my room. I love working in here. My room in Florida is even better. This room, from an audio standpoint, it's kind of short in the back because of that closet back there. Makes it feel more like a square, which you don't want to be in a square in a recording studio. But I didn't want to knock that wall out. It was too much work. But in Florida, I'm remodeling this house from the ground up so I can do whatever I want. And it had a similar situation of a closet like that in the back. So I just ripped it out, built a big bookshelf in the wall. It's gorgeous. It's going to be amazing. So the room is really long. It's like 16, 17 feet long, nice. which is great. So I'm really excited to get into the new space. And nice. Get back to work. It's been killing me. I've been remodeling this house for a month and haven't been making any music. It's crushing my soul.
It's funny. I think it was last week or something. Like you were saying on your Star Wars podcast, which we'll come to in a sec. But like talking about your move and stuff, and I'm sure you said something like you've pretty much. It feels like you've moved every year for like the last 20 years or something. I
pretty much have. If you do the math, I pretty much have, and I don't have an explanation for it. Most of the people in my life think I'm an absolute lunatic. Moves like this though, for me, again, people, everyone thinks I'm a lunatic and whatever, think what you're going to think. But I was very irresponsible with my finances when I was young and the band was making, doing really well. I really didn't take care of that part of my life. And so if I have to move every couple years to help me catch up, and be able to prepare for the future better, then that's what I have to do. And I've made some really smart choices in real estate. Later in life. And this is one of them for sure. I found even with the real estate market as crazy as it is in the States right now, this place we found in Florida, it was really a find, and we're able to do this remodel. And, it's just, like I said, I'm playing catch up really. So, if you're smart about it, obviously you can be really, you can do really well with turning real estate over. So that's kind of where my head's at. And if I have to keep moving, I have to keep moving. But, I enjoy it. I enjoy building out the spaces. I enjoy designing the homes. It's fun for me. So,
have you got much in the way of plans to bring kind of people through there, or is it more just for your own projects?
It's really, it's really home for me. You know, speaking of sort of fast catch up to where I'm at musically, when the band broke up, I thought I was going to be producing other bands. I thought that was kind of where I was going to go. I had such good relationships with Hopeless Records and Fearless Records and Epitaph Records and all these places where I had friends signed and knew the people at the labels. I guess I was it's kind of twofold. I was a little overconfident in the Yellowcard card playing for me. And it didn't really play at all. I was met mostly with, we could try a demo or something and see. I just didn't have a catalog. You know, I couldn't go to a band and say, here, look at all these records I've produced and it's going to sound like this, you know?
Yeah.
So I ran up against that a lot. And then short of that, I just found it to be kind of like a hustle that I wasn't really interested in. I'm a very hustle driven person. You know, I've been getting after it for the last 5 or 6 years after the band broke up to stay afloat, and keep making music. But, you know, going to shows 5 nights a week and kind of doing the sales pitch, it's just, that wasn't really what I wanted to do. I found also, you know, same vibe with kind of songwriting here in Nashville. I thought that was something I could get into, but totally burned out on that really fast. Writing 4 or 5 songs a week just was not my speed, you know, with different people and trying to get songs on records and radio. And so it just wasn't my speed. And I don't know, a couple years ago, I started to 3 years ago, I guess now, 3 or 4 years, 4 years ago now. You know, I did start making some of my own music and released a couple EPs. And I toured really hard on those. And that was, again, just kind of another step to keep it going, you know, to have some income and keep working and be able to make music still. But as of late, I've really honed in on what I want to do, which is score for film and television. So I'm in the process of, to your point, Nick, of bringing people through. This really is transitioning into just like a composition studio, you know, a composer's room. I mean, I'm just in here writing strings and drums and like score oriented music kind of just on my own. I love it. I absolutely love it. I haven't obviously gotten anything. I haven't landed anything that I can say, go watch this. This is what I did, but I will tell you that the doors are starting to open. I have a really cool little ambient score project I'm working on. It's going to kind of be like a collection of 2-minute long tracks, set up for sync, you know, so it can get shopped by commercials and Netflix and Amazon and whatever. So I actually have a place to deliver that to. So that's really huge for them to go out and shop it. And then Ryan Mendez from Yellowcard and I have been working together every day since the band broke up, both on I don't know, certain projects that are not this project. I'm going to tell you, we've worked on a few little things, but we have what we used to call a side project, and now is just our project called Jetta, which is a kind of ambient electronic, like experimental EDM score composition oriented kind of umbrella project. And we have landed a huge project that's coming later this year. I can't tell you what it is because it's a sign of,
can't give us any hints.
Sign a piece of paper. You know, you can't say anything about it. Project.
Yeah, of course.
But it's a big company and it's a big deal. And it's our first real thing. We scored a film in the summer of 2020 for our little independent film. And that was just great practice. We had a blast. We both realized, like, yes, this is the thing. This is what we want to do. So we have a big project coming up this year. So nice. That's where I'm at. In addition to releasing the EP, which I'm sure you guys want to talk about. But other than the EP coming out, I've been pretty solely focused on building my reel and getting into scoring.
Oh wow! Nice. Congratulations. Look forward to finding out what this project is later in the year. Yeah. So I suppose with that said, would it be fair to say that the solo stuff, like the EP, Everything Except Desire, I think it's called, which is coming out at the time of recording very, very soon, is that almost like a side project, and the stuff you're doing with Ryan Mendez is like, that's your main focus musically?
It's interesting. It's interesting because I did my first couple of EPs and I, as I said, I toured really hard. I mean, I toured everywhere. I did Australia, Europe, Russia. You know, I took it all the way to Russia. It was crazy. Had a blast. It was a grind. I mean, I was back in a van with work gloves on, humping gear in the snow for the first time since 2002.
Right.
So it was humbling, you know, but I found again that, you know, just not really where I wanted to place my energy for just like a full time getting after it. I felt like if I was home, I had to kind of make a call at the end of the day. Do you want to be out on the road grinding this out? Probably not going to happen for you, becoming like a big time Coachella playing solo artist with this sort of more post rock driven, no longer pop punk music you're making. Probably not going to happen. I say that without any kind of self-deprecation. Like it's just reality. You got to be realistic,
just how it is.
Right? And so come home and start making music because this is what you really want to do. So I decided to stop touring. The EP was born through the pandemic, and when the pandemic hit, so many of us were just freaking out. Like, what are we going to do? And never going to have a job again, right? So, my manager, an English bloke, your countryman, who is one of my dearest friends. His name's Andy Snape. He came up with the idea of maybe looking into a subscription type a Patreon thing. And I didn't even know what it was. I was like, well, what is that? So we did some research, looked into it. Again, I was kind of hesitant. I was like, I don't know, man. It feels like you're asking for money. It feels weird. Yeah. And so I actually took it upon myself to reach out to some core fans and say, what do you think about this? And they were all like, dude, please do it now. Like, I would have signed up yesterday. So I started that. And in the summer of 2020, it got me through the pandemic. It was freaking awesome. Huge, overwhelming support from fans. It was so rad. But one of the perks, one of the rewards at the tiers of for Patreon was a new composition, a new song every month. I realized after a few of them that I had bit off way more than I could chew doing a full song every single month. It was like, that's the thing. Back to like writing songs in Nashville, like that's just so not my speed. Like I can hardly, finishing even one song in 1 month is hard for me.
Right.
So but I did get through 4 songs. They were exclusive to Patreon with sort of a disclaimer that someday maybe I would release them. So this past year in 2020, so a year later, Andy and I just got to talking and thought maybe it was time to look into releasing it. And Equal Vision is a friend of Andy, and I've been a fan of obviously of so many of their bands and records they've put out over the years, and since I was a young lad.
Saves the Day and all that back in the day. Yeah,
for sure, man. So I was super excited about the opportunity. They were super excited about the opportunity because if you've listened to the EP, it's very, very far away from anything I've ever done before, and pretty far from, I think, the normal type of release that Equal Vision does as well, stylistically, And so they're really excited about it, and just getting to the answer of your question is like, is it a side project? It's funny because I was like, you guys know I'm not going to tour this. Like, this is like, usually when you sign with a label, that's sort of a big thing. It's like, well, sure, the label does this and you do that to kind of work hand in hand, and they felt like the sound that I'm going for, lends itself so much to what I'm trying to do, scoring, composing, playlisting, those types of things. That's where they want to focus their energy and not on touring. And they were actually really excited about it. So it just seemed like a really good fit. So I put it out, I put the songs together. I recorded one more song for it last summer. It was sort of a big instrumental opening track for the record, and decided to go for it and put it out. And we'll see what happens, but I think, everybody, I don't know that I would say what kind of project it is, side project, not side project. I don't know. Okay. I think it's very open to interpretation depending on if it gets any of that playlisting, if it gets picked up for a show or something, I kept in mind while making the music, my sort of goal of getting into scoring and composing for film. That as I was making these tracks, I was very conscious of what editors are looking for, what music directors are looking for, as far as, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but when you submit a track for a trailer, a movie trailer or a show or something, they'll skip over your track based on how the waveform looks, the image of it. Right. They won't, if it doesn't look right, they won't even listen to it. So you have to be very conscious of your triangles, like your waveform has to get big and get small again, and big and small, because then they say, okay, well, there's an edit point. So you have to be really conscious of that. And this is all the stuff I'm learning, but I was pretty conscious of the build of these tracks that I made for this record. And again, Equal Vision's really excited about that. You know, they're kind of like, if you're not touring, but you're getting into trying to make music for television and we're the ones putting it out, we're the ones behind it, then that's great for us, you know? So, so far so good. You know, the video that I made for, well, I didn't make it. The company called Scene Film from Italy made it, but, it's like a stop motion, origami paper. I don't know if origami is the right word. Probably not. He'd probably be like, that's not at all what you call it. But
I know what you're saying.
It's all made out of paper and it's all stop motion animation. And, but we just hit, I think we're about to hit 100,000 views on the video on YouTube, which is
awesome.
Pretty wild. So, you know, we'll see where it goes. For me, it's about these days, it's about content, you know, it's about continuing to create and just building a track list, you know, and having as much material to show to people, as I can. And whether that continues to be, lyric driven, you know, solo releases or more kind of just score based pieces, I think it's going to be a little bit of all of it.
Nice. Yeah, we look forward to hearing it, man. I mean, is there any desire from a live perspective? Are you definitely, you know, planning to simmer that whole thing down, or do you think you still have the itch and do shows here and there?
Well, we've got the emo cruise, haven't we? Coming up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that so I am. I mean, look, I you know, I got to make a living, right? So I'm doing shows where I'll just take an acoustic guitar and bang out Yellowcard songs, and people love it. And you know, it's a way for me to, like I said, it's a way for me to get paid and make a living. And so I am still doing some shows. As far as performing, especially Everything Except Desire, you know, that would be something that I would want to, like, if I was going to do that, it would be like, I would want to perform the EP in full kind of thing. It's sort of an experience that way. Right.
Yeah.
And I would really have to do a lot of research on my end to figure out how to create a show,
like stage production and what.
Yeah, that works, right? Where it doesn't cost me a fortune, where I'm not just like pressing play and standing there with a microphone. Like, how can I
bring it to life on stage?
Right. Yeah. How can I incorporate some live elements musically, instrumentally into the tracks as they play? Because it would be a track heavy show, but in 2022, does anyone care that shows are track heavy anymore? I mean, music is changing, live music is changing. You know what I mean? And it's like my view on tracks has always it's evolved over the years. Yellowcard was a super heavy track heavy band for the last, I don't know, 5-6 years of our career, because we couldn't afford to bring a string section on the road. That's crazy. We can't hire a cello player and a viola player and have them traveling around with us. Yeah. But strings are a huge part of our music. So once we had the ability and the technology and at our disposal to build those tracks, we kind of were like, we made it, you know, we wrote it. It's our music that is being played, you know, through the speakers, and no matter how you look at it, it makes the show sound better. It's like, you know, so we did evolve a little farther past that. And when we're making records for Yellowcard, standard operation in, you know, the chorus of a song, you have your 2 guitars left and right. Sometimes you have 4 guitars, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. And then you'll rip this kind of clean, crunchy sound up the middle. And it really just opens the frequency spectrum for the chorus. It lifts it, right? So we were like, we don't have a 3rd guitar player. Fuck it. Let's put that in. Let's put that on a track. No one's going to know, and it's just going to bump. It's going to lift,
elevate it that little bit. Yeah.
So Ryan and I are still playing guitar, and then this 3rd guitar comes in, and it makes it sound bigger and better and gnarlier. And our sound engineer freaking loved it, you know, because it was more tools for him to use in the mix. So I think it was a lot more taboo in the past, and I think as the technology evolves, enhances your show. I personally don't have an issue with it. And so if I'm doing something like Everything Except Desire, which is so inspired by so many of the electronic producers and DJs and artists that I love and listen to, like, they're doing a lot live, but they're also playing a lot of tracks, because what can you do? You only have 10 fingers. You can't be, you know, like one of my favorite artists in the world is John Hopkins, an English producer. He's wild. You know, he's wild. The dude is insane. His music's insane. He does a lot of stuff live using these little Korg pads where he can manipulate his different track groups and like delay them and reverse them and do all this crazy shit to them. But at the core of it, he has to press play somewhere on like the kick drum. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he can't stand there and play all the double kicks and crazy shit he's doing with the kick. So it's just a really tricky thing. And I would have to figure out how to do that for these new songs in a way where I felt like I was engaged instrumentally in some way, and also able to sing and also able to have the tracks playing in a way that felt good for the audience. And I just haven't really put a lot of thought into how I would make that happen yet. I do have a show coming up in May where I'm going to be like one of 8 artists on a bill with Fitz and the Tantrums, and which is really cool for me because that's like stepping out. That's kind of like what I've been trying to do. And so I don't think that's a get up and bang out Yellowcard songs show. So I think that might be my first my first trial as far as how could I, because those fans don't care what they're just going, if about Yellowcard or who I am or what I've done. I think it would be just as cool to sort of show up as a brand new artist for them on that show. They're not
the opportunity there. Yeah,
for sure. So if I got up there and made an impression with the Everything Except Desire songs for that fan base, that would I think be a really cool experience for me and for them. So I would definitely like to figure it out, a way to do it.
Sorry, just changing the subject randomly here because I've noticed something that I wanted to ask you about. But like, I remember when you were on Mike Herrera's podcast, you were talking about the process you're getting done on your arm. You're getting the tattoo that's all blacked out and then going to be covered with further stuff. Just wondered where you're at with that because you were talking through the process of that and like, it sounded pretty full on.
I have the first pass of white line work up here. I flew to Colorado in December to start with it. So one artist in Philly did the blackout, and then I have another artist in Colorado that's doing the white on top. And I went out there, did the first session, was supposed to do 2 sessions that week. Woke up the day after the tattoo, tested positive for COVID, and had to quarantine in a hotel for 10 days and missed the second appointment. Was sick as a dog, stuck in a hotel room on my birthday, and didn't get to do any more work. So I'm behind. I'm not where I'd like to be. We were hoping to kind of be on the outside down to my wrist in those 2 sessions, and I'm only basically just above my elbow. But it's pretty wild. Yeah, I mean it looks amazing. I'm really impressed with how the white ink has popped even on the first pass because the trickiest thing about white on black is you have to do multiple passes. So it's a long, grueling process, and the artist is in Colorado, so I have to fly out there every time I want to do the work. So I'm hoping that three passes will be enough of my whole arm. So
was it kind of you were just wanting to go for something new, or were you tired of what you had before? Because it's covering up an old sleeve, right? What was the decision? Yeah. I mean, what was the decision to do it for it? Go for it.
It was just old, gross, stupid. Got my first tattoo when I was 20 and 21, maybe, I don't know, and it just got
a few of those myself. So
it was so faded out on the top from Warped Tour for 7 years of Warped in the sun, and I was just kind of tired of looking at it. And to be honest, I mean, everyone has their own opinion, what they think about it, whatever. But ever since I've seen over the past few years the white on black trend of tattoos, I've just loved it. And I saw this guy in Denver. His name's Clinton Lee. I saw a white on black that he was working on his Instagram page. It was sort of like a suggested. The artist that did my blackout did the blackout on this kid that Clinton is tattooing, and he reposted Clinton's picture of this whiteout, and I was like, that's it. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want to do. So I'm hoping to finish my Star Wars tattoo like fully finished this year too. So it's at 42 years old, I'm gonna have like fresh ink that's just gonna pop, and now I can take care of it. I mean, I take it.
Yeah, why not?
I've nurtured this thing every day. Like I take such good care of it. So, until I'm wrinkly, I'll have really, really nice tattoos again.
I suppose that's a nice quick segue into, I said before that, I wanted to give you a Star Wars podcast a little shout out because I know that's something you're enjoying doing. Has the audience been growing? I was just curious, like the audience for that, is it mainly people who are just like fans of you, or have you managed to like get an actual people who just care about Star Wars, not about Yellowcard or whatever?
Way more of the latter than the former.
Really? Okay.
Yes, and that was our dream all along. Obviously, we knew that we had a fan base to start with, but obviously our goal was to reach the Star Wars fan base. And we absolutely have. I mean, if you go on Apple Podcasts, which there's Spotify allows reviews now, but we have a lot of reviews on Apple, and you can just tell that it's not people who have any idea about our past or the bands, or the earlier reviews are obviously, but there's a lot of them now, and they're just it's so fun, dude. We're a month away now. Today is the 3rd. Literally exactly a month from today, we will be on the Galactic Star Cruiser at Disney World. So we're going. Nick, Adam, and I are going on the second ever voyage of the Star Cruiser, and we're full freaking. I've been practicing my saber work. I made the most unexpected and incredible friend on an airplane in early 2020. I sat next to Ashley Eckstein, who is the voice of Ahsoka Tano on the Clone Wars, all 8 seasons of the Clone Wars. So she's like the lead character on the Clone Wars. I sat next to her on a plane, and we just got to chatting, and it took a while for her to tell me who she was, but she was wearing Star Wars gear head to toe. And coincidentally, it was a Thursday. It was the first day of Thank the Maker, our podcast. It was the first episode ever. I met Ahsoka Tano on the day our podcast dropped. It was the force was strong with this day.
Yeah.
So she and I have become friends. We're working together on some stuff. It's absolutely wild. It's a pinch yourself thing. It's crazy. And so I'm actually working with her personal designer, who designs all of her costuming and stuff for all the stuff, Comic-Cons and all the stuff she does. He's designing my full Jedi head to toe. That
must be a trip for you.
Total trip, bro. I did my consultation with him and got measured, and so we're all 3 of us are going full freaking. Hold on.
No half measures on that front.
No, sir. We're going for it. So, we're just nerded. We're so nerded out about it. That it's happening a month away. Just with we're the 3 of us are such good friends, and getting to experience something like that together, it's going to be mental.
That's cool, man.
I guess first question, kind of in terms of those early years. I mean, what were you growing up in Florida? What were your first experiences with music? What you were listening to? What got you kind of into playing in a band, playing guitar, singing? Mm-hmm. I mean, what? How did it start out for you?
I was 11 years old when Nirvana Nevermind came out, and it changed my life. So, I got my first guitar probably a year and a half after that, when I was 13. Started playing in a crappy little band in my friend's garage, and then I think I was 16 years old when a really good friend of mine who I grew up with, our dads were business partners. He was 2 or 3 years younger than me. Brought me over to his house for his band practice, and they were already very much playing the NoFX, Lagwagon, No Use for a Name, Propaganda style 90s Warped Tour kind of second wave of punk vibe was their band. My band was really just, I don't know what we were. We didn't know what we were, but it was much more sort of alternative grungy sort of vibe.
Right.
So I went over to Scott's house for practice. His band's called Inspection 12. They're still a band in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I know.
But I had never heard it. I'd never heard this before.
Right.
And I was just like, what is this? And so Scott gave me my first 2 punk records were No Use for a Name, Lech Con Carne, and Propaganda, How to Clean Everything. And then that led me into, playing that style of music, writing that style of music, eventually joining Yellowcard after their singer left the band. And I mean, again, in 9 minutes, I don't have time to tell you about moving to Santa Cruz, California, and playing in a Tooth and Nail band called Craig's Brother.
Yeah, Craig's Brother.
Sleeping on a garage floor in the middle of the winter with the space heater next to my head, and working at Thrifty Car Rental in Santa Cruz. And what a crazy time that was before I even joined Yellowcard.
Yeah.
I think let's fast forward through. Let's if we want to cover certain points of the career in just a few minutes. Yeah. So you join Yellowcard. Real quick, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but because you talked about band dramas and stuff, but I did see One for the Kids was re-released. I don't know if you did you check that out? What were your thoughts on that?
The whole thing was done completely behind Sean and I's back. We had no idea it was even happening. We never heard. No one sent us a single track or artwork or any. I don't know what the pictures they used. I have no idea.
Okay.
So no, I have not. I haven't heard anything good about it sonically, so I don't think I really need to listen to it. I mean, that record is kind of nails on a chalkboard for me anyways, you know what I mean? Just like I know how special it is to fans as it being like where it originated, but it doesn't mean that I enjoy listening to it from a production standpoint and like a sonic. It's tough to whiny little nasally voice on that thing.
Yeah, I mean, and you know how it holds up with respect. I don't think it's your greatest work. Yeah. I do a couple of songs maybe, but
dude, I always say I don't understand how we got signed and got what I have no idea.
So in terms, obviously there was a huge step up with Ocean Avenue, and obviously arguably that was what propelled you. At what point? So you released Ocean Avenue with Capitol. At what point did they come along? Because you were fueled by ramen, weren't you? Were they consumed by?
No, we signed a deal memo with Capitol Records in I think it was about April of 2002, and they kind of had this, which was pretty standard back then. It was like it was frowned upon for a band to jump immediately from an independent label to a major label. And so to help with the announcement was put out an EP on Fueled by Ramen. Then we have a second release. Then we signed to Capitol, even though we had already signed to Capitol. The announcement kind of came after that. So Capitol licensed us out, or sort of rented us out to Fueled by Ramen for that EP. I'm not sure how the deal worked, but that's why you can't listen to it on streaming services, because I think the licensing is so messed up on who owns that record and stuff. So that's how the Fueled by Ramen thing happened. But yeah, One for the Kids was, experience wise, it was amazing. We were sleeping in the van on the side of the road and making our first record, and it was my first record. They had made some records in high school, but the re-release thing is just, it's incredible. The kid who did the remixes found me through someone to contact me and ask me if I could help him get the mixes pulled.
Oh really?
Because he said it was such a terrible process, and it was so like. He just told me. He said, yeah, they've told me that they were purposely doing this without involving you guys, so they could just do it without. Our contract with Lobster Records is so invasive that I can't do anything anyways, even if I wanted to. It was such a terrible contract that they the owner of the label, which is not really a label anymore, but he can literally do whatever he wants with the masters. So it doesn't matter. I'm not angry. I think it's funny. To be honest.
Okay. Yeah.
But it was just, I was contacted to say like, this is happening. Did you know? And I was like, nope, I sure didn't. So, the Underdog EP was a step up in production from that, I think in a way. And then Ocean Avenue was just, it was crazy, dude. We were a garage band, and then we were making $500,000 record.
Yeah. Did you know that though? When you, I guess, was the plan for Capitol to always release it, or were they open to the Fueled by Ramen thing again with that record?
The plan was for Ocean Avenue to come out on Capitol Records.
Okay.
And that was always the plan.
And when once you finished writing it and recording it, did you know at that point that like this is a great record?
Really,
or
not really. I would say that we we knew it was special, and Neil Avron, our producer, changed our lives. Truly taught us how to make a record.
Yeah.
Taught us a lot more about song structure and crafting a good pop song, and we learned so much in that process. The pre-production was really the pre-production for Ocean Avenue was the most eye-opening experience, I think, of my musical career. It set up everything that followed as a songwriter, because Neil came in and took all these different ideas we had and kind of would be like, why are you doing that? Where is that 8 bars coming from and never getting repeated in this? Because we used to do shit like that all the time. We would just do these cool little breaks and stuff, and Neil helped us hone in on for lack of better words, like our hooks, and the most important parts of our melodies and instrumentals, and how to craft them into tighter well crafted songs. And so we knew that was happening, but we had no idea what was going to happen. Like when we heard the first mixes, I remember, I can't remember exactly what city we were in, but summer of 2003, we're in the back lounge of the bus on the way to Warped Tour that summer, a couple months before the release, and we were hearing the mixes and masters for the first time, and that's when it started to be like, holy shit, this sounds insane. Like compared to One for the Kids and on the Underdog EP, now you're hearing a Tom Lord Alge mix of your song, and it's like, you know, it's like, holy shit. And so, but the commercial success, no. I mean, there was no way to know that any of that was even on the horizon. We thought we were going to really kill it touring. You know, we thought Capitol they were really supportive of our touring career. That's how we got signed, was our touring and our work ethic and our fan base that we had built. The Andy Slater, the president of the label, has famously said, you know, I don't get it. When he came to see us play, I don't hear a song. I don't hear a single song, but clearly there's something going on here, and we should snatch him up before somebody else does. That's basically how we got signed. So,
nice.
You know, our live show got us signed, but yeah, and we had no idea, man. We had no idea what we were in store for.
Yeah, nice. I mean, you know, obviously we've pretty much run out of time, but I could talk to you all afternoon about certain points of your career and stuff. But I guess just like a couple of quick, just final questions. So, like, well, now that Yellowcard's done, what was your favorite album that you put out? If you can only listen to one again, what are you most proud of now that you have retrospect? Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Lift a Sail, 2014. That hands down by a pretty far long shot. That's my favorite album.
What about what tour you could go back and do again? Thinking of the other, some of the bands you played with over the years.
The final tour. It was magical. It was the most free I ever felt on the road. Free from stress and anxiety, and I struggled with that a lot. It really affected my character and my. This is a whole nother podcast we need to do that I enjoy. I really enjoy talking about it. How it really negatively impacted people's sort of. The way people viewed me and my experience with fans. A lot of the time I was really struggling with a lot of stress and high level anxiety that I didn't have the tools to examine and understand. And the final tour, a lot of that fell away because there was there's nothing, this is purely about enjoyment. This is the last time you get to do it. And it was just a really different experience for me. And I'm so glad that I got to have it, because a lot of my time in Yellowcard, for me, I'm not speaking for anyone else in the band, and I'm not putting any blame on anyone else in the band, personally, due to my inability to deal with my own mental health struggles, which were, by the way, also pretty mild compared to what a lot of people struggle with.
Right.
And that's even makes it a little even more frustrating for me that I wasn't able to figure it out and deal with it. But a lot of my time in Yellowcard was very unpleasant when I look back on it. It was really? It was less fun and more stressful for me, most all of it. And so the end was the I forced it to sort of be the opposite of that. I tried to be so conscious of not, I wasn't always successful. There were definitely some bumps in the road, even on the final tour. But I tried to just really make each show count, you know, and not let the stress of things going wrong or, whatever used to get me and set me off. I tried to let that not happen, and it made it a much more positive experience. So if every tour could have been like that, it would have been a whole different ride. So I certainly would choose that tour to do for, on repeat for eternity.
Got it, man. I think, probably that's a good note to leave it on. I think if that works for you, Nick, as well.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, we could stay here and ask questions all evening.
Yeah, well, since we had a little hiccup, if you guys want to make this like a two-parter, get 2 weeks out of it, hit up the team, and we can reconvene.
We can come back. Yeah,
we'd love to do a part 2 of this. Yeah, there's so much I'd love to talk to you about. But yeah, Ryan, thanks so much for giving us your time. This has been
no
really
worries.
Cool.
Thank you guys.
All right, man.
Be well, and definitely hit them up and let them know we chatted about it. I'd be happy to come back.
Just before you go, no plans for Slam Dunk this year? I know you're a bit of a regular there, especially with the acoustic stuff recently.
No, what I was hoping to do at some point was not, because the acoustic show I played was bonkers, dude. I could not believe
there was a lot of people there. Yeah.
Wild. That was one of my most memorable and cherished musical experience.
It was early in the day as well, wasn't it? It was early.
I easily opened the stage.
Yeah.
But I wanted to come over and kind of be resident and like DJ the kind of emo night DJ the after parties one.
Oh yeah, I've seen you doing that before.
We were talking about that for 2020, and then the pandemic hit, and we just haven't revisited it. But maybe I might be able to make that happen still. So I'm not sure yet.
Okay. Nice, nice.
Cool.
Best of luck with the EP launch, and yeah, we'll be in touch with your management about getting a round 2 in at some point in the next couple of months or something. That'd be awesome. Thanks so much, man.
Right. Let's do it.
Thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, we'd love it if you could subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast, whether that's iTunes or Spotify or Stitcher or anywhere like that. Also, check us out on social media. If you just search for Wasting Time Podcast on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, give us a like or a follow on any of those. And also, we love hearing from listeners as well. So feel free anytime to drop us an email at thewastingtimepodcast@gmail.com, or obviously you can message us on social media as well. But yeah, we'll catch you next time.